Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're over on the YouTube account, and I was waiting to make this guide with the hunting fields until the hunting fields actually came up. So you can see a little bit of what is going on here, guys. Similar to the Abyssal Expedition, you can see we start off way over here. I actually picked up the Wilders, so I'm not doing a competitive run in here. We're just doing a regular casual run to get through here, get the loot, guys. So starting out, you do want to be pathing over to our left. And the heroes that you want to choose is really dependent on your faction, but you only want to use one and only one hero to actually path, guys. So at that point, we'll take your hero, move it over and over, which again, we'll go through on the guides. Ultimately getting to a point where you have all of your villages in there. As you can see, we picked up a couple right now. And also the ultimate goal at the beginning is to path to the boss. You can see there is a couple guildies already, path to the boss. It is going to be a convergence of all three paths, 1, 2, 3. I'm waiting for our other player to actually log in right here to continue the path. But between all of us, guys, once you get it merged to the boss, that is where you want to be. Now, along the way, you are also going to find some Den of Bones. There's going to be a couple different things on here that you might want to start farming, which right here is the first Den of Bones. The sooner you get in here, guys, the faster you're going to produce resources. Now, like most of these times, guys, is there usually is going to be one hero that you're going to feed everything into, and this one, it is Valentina. We're going to feed everything right into him because he is running the Celestials, the Hypogeans, and the Dimensionals, which is the reason we are going to be farming. All right, guys, so we're going to switch over to the guides. There's quite a bit of content in here, and I really wanted to cover all of it, so let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so here's the first guide, guys. Now, this is the specific team comps. When you get into your formation builds, after you're done pathing that initial beginning part, these are the teams, these are the heroes that you are going to put in here. Now, there can be a couple substitutions in here, but this will be our wilder teams. Now, you'll also notice right off the bat that we do have Hodgkin in here, guys. Hodgkin is a super strong crowd control and buffer within here, which makes him viable, very, very viable, even within the wilder formation that we have. The rest of these heroes, he is super viable when it comes, and I have the translation for this guide, so I'm going to go through it, guys. So the Wilders are given Hodgkin. Wilders by themselves are not weak. Orin can outpath Mishka, and Woken Solus can be very, very feasible. So again, switching through the pathing, this is the team you're going to use. Now, this is not going to be our boss killing team, but this is ultimately going to be the team that you are going to develop and build as you continue through the hunting fields. Now, looking at our Celestials, Hypogeans, and also your Dimensional heroes, this is the specific boss killer. So again, like we were feeding Valentine, we are feeding him everything to go ahead and build out this boss killing team. When it comes to the gate bosses, when it comes to the boss, it is going to be on him to do the damage. When it comes to all of our mini bosses to get the treasure chest, it is again going to be on the team. We have noticed, guys, that Lucretia fully buffed, and you can see between these two teams, the first one is actually the boss killing team. So Lucretia, Halos, Joan, Twins, Mortis are all going to supercharge Lucretia. Lucretia can just crush the bosses. Now, first row is the boss comp, the key main heroes, Halos, Lucretia, reinforcements, nothing major on the boss. Pathing with Kanisa or Athalia will work well, or if you have a substitute, reinforcing Orin in here if you don't have these heroes that you see here. Also do have the Witcher in here, guys. Very cool to see. Now, looking down here, we have our Lightbearer team, and you can also see the addition of Anasta and the Twins within the Lightbearer team. Again, looking at your reinforcements, guys, very important. So looking at our Lightbearers, Anasta and the Twins is bossing meta within the game, pathing with the Awakened version of Thane. Otherwise, you can use Peggy to path, which a lot of players do use Peggy, because she has the 2 guards when you start building her up, works incredibly, incredibly well. Now, looking down at our Mauler team, big one with this one, guys, is you're picking up Silas. Silas is one of the best support heroes that we have within AFK Arena. Also putting Damon in here, he can solo a lot of teams, guys. It's very, very cool to see. So looking at our Maulers are bestowed with the superb support of Silas, with which alleviates Maulers of the weakness of the lack of support within the faction. It is possible to see Mauler shine on the boss, maybe with Mishka or Damon. And again, Damon in here If you do not have Brutus, consider Cetrana or Titus are going to be the subs in there if you do not have this awakened version of Brutus. And then, of course, we have the Graveborns, guys. You can see in here we do have Nevi, and we also do have Zolrath. Pretty interesting combination. But you can also see Desire is in here, Silas is in here. A lot of support heroes here, as well as the awakened version of Baden. Now, the Zolrath remains in the Graveborn comp, undisputed to clear the boss. When a boss hits 40% HP or less, Zolrath damage gets amplified, which is the reason why players keep Zolrath in here. It is kind of crazy. Now, the awakened version of Baden should be fed to the farm. If no Baden, use Treznar. If no Treznar, go with Athalia, Nevi, Scrag, both solid as well. Keep banking Damon, Silas, Hodgkin, Grez, and the awoken version of Baden, which are really good as a backup to the Graveborn or to the boss killing Chad team. So if you do have a little bit of, if the heroes are not the players are not as strong as you need them to be, you can actually use this team kind of as a sub for the Celestials, the Hypogeans, and the dimensional heroes within there, really to support what we have going on. Now that we know all of the factions that we're using, the heroes we are utilizing within the factions, we're going to go ahead and run through a second guide looking at the different game modes. So let's go ahead and switch over to that. All right, guys, for this one, I had to drop out the camera. We really don't have enough, but I love how it looks. Big shout out to Z Plus, guys, putting out guides. We don't have many content creators that are creating guides, visuals. So I'm going to run through this. Again, there's a lot of content for this. I'm going to put a link to both guides down below so you know exactly what we're looking at. But definitely check out the guides, guys. Now, looking down here, the road, of course, is the beginning. Tier 1, Tier 2, ignore unless they are in the way if you are strong enough. Now, one of the big things, guys, is if you get to these Tier 3s and you cannot take any of the Tier 3s, you cannot win any of those Tier 3 battles, you are absolutely want to go ahead and push through there, which really makes the viability. Always walk the path in a straight line. So when you first get into the hunting fields, what you're looking to do, make paths, connect the 5 players to the bosses. That is what you want to do, guys. Now, here are some of the best pathers that we have within the game based on the faction. Again, looking through here, like we had said, you're going to actually place, in this instance, we use the awakened version of Thane, into the next formation once the stamina is out, so on and so forth, until the pathing is complete. Do not put in additional heroes until you finish making the way. So until you actually get pathed to the very first boss, that is the point where you're going to put in the heroes that you're looking to utilize. Now, at this point, guys, looking into step 2, this is when you got to the boss. So everything is pathed. We have it to the boss. This is the Celestial Hypogean interdimensional heroes. You can see it is the Team Chad guys with Lucretia, like we just talked about. This is where you're going to feed everything into this comp. Once you start getting into these bosses, Morrow, then we have Torn right here, and then we have K-Sauce. This is what all of the all of your badges, everything is going to go into the team, guys, like we see here, to take out these bosses. You will not be using, and I'm trying to think the name of those. I'm again kind of drawing a blank on there, but I believe they're the Challenger Seals. But you will feed these Challenger Seals into your Celestial Hypogean and Dimensional player, and they will be the one to take down these bosses. Hopefully it is going to be in one of these seals. A lot of times it does take 2 to take down these bosses. Again, super dependent on the player level that you do have, because of course uses the martial ratings, which means the higher level player you are, the higher your level is going to be within this game mode. Now, players, of course, we will have the 4 different faction. They will continue to deliver all the stamps, brands of the hunter, relics to the Chad that we get from the chest. So again, you are feeding one specific player, which is what you want to do, guys. And then getting into the 5 factions, again, you're going to want to feed the hero to the point that they have the heroes built to take down the gate bosses, and also taking down the regular bosses in a very quick and efficient manner. Now, once you get into 4, the Chad will start giving the relics to other players depending on what they need. A lot of times you feed the Graveborn after that. Feeding the Graveborn, of course, is the backup team for the Celestials, the Hypogeans, and the Dimensional heroes, which makes it a lot easier. You can take tier 3 on the road by doing, again, a couple different ones. Want to make sure, again, that you're not going to be losing out on stamina when it comes to the taking tier 3s, tier 4s, things of that nature. You want to make sure that you're fighting a battle that you are going to win. You can see, guys, the gate boss even stays with that Lucretia comp, doing incredibly well. And the rest of the players are going to have to take out the mini boss, or not the mini bosses, the camps under the gate bosses. So kind of the mini bosses, but you're going to be the one essentially responsible at a point that taking up the camps, feeding the Chad, you're going to get relics in a couple different factions. And then from there, you're actually going to build them out a little bit to be able to take out a couple of these camps. So after you defeat Granite, which is the first gate boss, make pass to the gate boss, layers, field, and field bosses, just like we seen in the very beginning, guys. These 4 factions are responsible for pathing everywhere. And then the Chad player is going to take out, they're going to specifically take out the bosses. The bosses are going to be all done. You can see all the bosses down here, guys. That is who is going to handle taking out the bosses, is the Chad, who is going to be fully built and fed at this point. Gate boss number 2, it is the exact same formation. Now this is also the beta version, which means this could absolutely change through here. So you definitely want to make sure that you're staying up to date on everything, and we'll see exactly how effective it's going to be. Next version will probably have some new heroes. So all 5 factions should farm tier 3s and some tier 4s if possible based on levels. And then of course you're going to feed everything to the Chad. Keep sending it to the Chad. The Chad must distribute the relics to the companions that need to raise heroes to farm, guys. This is an event where it is all in for one player. If you have some players within here, either that are AFK, which is the biggest nightmare for this game mode, but you want to make sure even 1 or 2 players solo can take this down. We did it last time this event was up. If you're really in a bad situation, you can definitely take this down, which is 1 or 2 players. So the players of 4 factions must add their weakest, least important farm heroes to the bone dens, because you don't want to burn your stamina on your good hero. To utilize your stamina to get our hunter's marks, which again are going to the Chad. And then you finally get to Adrax. As you can see right here, Adrax you can stop if you're looking for a competitive level. Once you kill Adrax for the first time, that is really it, guys. You got all the rewards out of that point. If you're not going for the frames, if you're not going for any of that, you are done with the hunting fields, which is the reason through the next couple days, it's pretty quick to get through here. Not super difficult, but minimum requirement 4.3.1 to destroy the pharaohs and the boss, which again, the Chad will be able to do. Because when the Chad gets to this point, they are just going to be using the hunter seals and killing the gate bosses, which means they should have a considerable amount of stamina. Everyone else can help in, but you can see here, guys, these are the final gate bosses through everything that you're going to be pushing for the Chad. And then the final team bosses are right here, guys. So again, looking at what you're building, I am in the very bottom on the Wilders, and there are some suggested farm heroes over here as well. So again, depending on the faction that you're utilizing, these are the heroes that you're going to use for the final boss. So again, when you get there, this is where your stamina is going to be used based on what you do have, but these are heroes that you are going to be building out. Sorry guys, so that'll do it for the double guides for the hunting fields. I know there is an incredible amount of information in here. Wanted to share it again. I'll put a link to both guides down below. So that'll do it for today's video, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and as always, thank you guys for watching.